Welcome to my Excel video on estimating the difference of population proportions or percentages. Here in this video, we'll be looking at estimating P1 minus P2 and showing you how you could actually put in the values given in the exercise, and then from them calculate the values you need to plug into the formula and actually get the left-hand side and the right-hand side of the confidence intervals. All right, so here we're given in the exercise in a random sample of 50 stats professors in LA. So that's the first sample. 8 of them indicated they use technology, so 8 out of 50. So x1 is 8, n1 is 50. So in LA, 8 out of 50 teach stats using technology, and in the New York area, 12 out of 90 use technology to teach stats, so 12 out of 90 for the second group. And remember, x is always smaller than n, because if you divide x by n, you should get a probability, which is a value less than 1. So your x always has to be smaller than n. Your part always has to be less than the total, obviously. All right, so that's what's given in the exercise. They want a 95% confidence level. So, I mean, you've either again memorized that the z-score for 95% is 1.96, or you could actually calculate it using the norm.s.inverse command. So let's see, P1 hat is the first percentage of the first group. The first group is 8 and 50. So if I turn that into some color, let's say orange or something. Now, if P1 hat is orange, then I get that from the orange here. So that's the first group. P1 belongs to 8 and 50. And then P2, if I use a different color, so let's go with blue. So if P2 is blue, then these two are going to have to be blue, because that's where P2 is going to come from. So P1 hat will be equal to x1 divided by n1. P2 hat is x2 divided by n2. So this way I could find the first and second percentages. Now Q1 hat, we always know in probability and stats, no matter what chapter or module you're studying, P and Q are always complement of each other. So Q1 hat will be equal to 1 minus P1 hat, which is that one there. Q2 hat will be equals 1 minus P2 hat, which is that one. And my z-score is 1.96, or I can use a command to do it. Now, what was the command? Let's see if you remember. Oh, that's right. You just come here on the side somewhere and say, okay, I have to take half of my confidence level, so half of 95%, so 0.95 divided by 2, and no one expects you to do this in your head. All right, and then you have to add 0.5 to that number, right? That's right, you haven't forgotten, plus 0.5. But even if you did, I just reminded you. So take the confidence level divided by 2 and add a half to it. And that's the number you use in your Excel command. So let's find the z-score using the command. We know it's going to be 1.96. Norm.s.inverse. Probability is 0.975. So 0.975. I could have just clicked on it. It should give you 1.96. Yep. 1.95999. If you round it to 2 decimal places, it will be 1.96. So let's just, so that we all get the same answer, let's just round it to 2 decimal places, and let's just type over it 1.96. Again, during the test or doing the homework assignments, if you actually remember it's 1.96, you really don't need to type the command every time. Now, the lower confidence limit at this point will be, so here it's time for me to just replicate the formula, which will be equal to parentheses P1 hat minus P2 hat. So P1 hat minus P2 hat. I'm basically just clicking on whatever the formula is telling me to use. Minus Z, so I click on Z, times, if there's nothing between the Z and the square root, it means it's multiplication, times the square root of P1 hat Q1 hat. So P1 hat times, and if there's nothing between P1 hat and Q1 hat, that means there's a multiplication in between. So you have to say times Q1 hat, which is that one. Just be careful not to click on the wrong thing. Plus, divide by N1, which is 50. Then it says plus. Now you go to P2 hat, Q2 hat, so I'm going to multiply click on P2 hat, and I'm going to multiply that with Q2 hat, which is that one, divide by N2. And that will be the left-hand side of my confidence interval formula. Okay, and it's a lot of typing, so I'm just going to copy. I don't know. I don't think copying will work. It's okay. Let's just type it. It'll be nicer that way. Let me just center everything. Okay, let's just type it again for the other side. It's a good practice. So P1 hat minus P2 hat again. So P1 hat minus P2 hat again, but this time plus instead of a minus, times the z value, which is right there, times the square root of, open parentheses, P1 hat, Q1 hat again. So P1 hat times Q1 hat divide by N1, which is 50, plus P2 hat times Q2 hat divide by N2, which in this case is 90. So we click on that, close parentheses, and that's the right side of my confidence interval formula. So P1 minus P2 between minus 0.097, let's say, and 0.150, if I ask you for 3 decimal places. Thank you.